In this video, Blaze and I are taking an epic road trip in the classic 1971 Fiat 500. So a little backstory with this car. We bought it a few weeks ago. We did one video with it, ran perfectly throughout the video, and then right after that shoot, I went to go drive this car from our offices here in Boulder to the ranch, and about 8 miles into that drive, it crapped out, and in a big way. So we towed it over to our mechanic Ted's, and $1,500 later, and we're ready to try the journey again. Now, it's a whopping 23 miles to get from here in Boulder all the way up to the ranch. We've got obstacles such as hills and stoplights and a stop sign and dirt. Obstacles in which a normal car would have no difficulty, but the little Fiat with just 18 horsepower, we're gonna see if it'll do the journey. So I'm gonna load up Blaze into the back of the mighty beast, and then we're gonna hit the road. Hey, so if you want a really cool classic of your own, we are selling our 1987 BMW M535 over at TFLbids.com. That's right, this exact car is up for auction. This is a super cool ride, originally sold brand new in Japan and then imported here to the States where it got a manual conversion, but it's in fantastic condition, original paint, and this thing is one of the coolest rides anywhere. Check it out over at TFLbids.com. So if you notice, in the back of the Fiat is currently a box of spare parts, and that is a mandatory requirement for driving a Fiat around. But unfortunately, it's either gonna be box or dog. So the box is gonna have to go from the Fiat into the Hummer chase vehicle, which sounds easy, but I promise you it's not as easy as it sounds, because the Fiat is really quite small. Actually, that was pretty easy. Naturally, part of any Fiat pre-flight checklist, you gotta have not one, not two, not three, but 4 workshop manuals. That's mandatory for any drive. And then, it's also recommended to have a complete carburetor rebuild kit on you at all times. So, this stuff is going to move from the Fiat to the Hummer, and then the floof is gonna move from the ground into the Fiat. So let's do that now. All right, floof, it's time to go. Ready? Come on, Blazy, let's see how you do. Get in there, buddy. Oh, actually, look at that. Floof fits in there perfectly. That's great news. As small as this car is, and it's a full foot shorter than like a smart car. Sorry, it's a foot longer than a smart car. It seats 4 people, and the dog fits in there beautifully. All right, Blazy. Let's go ahead and fire this beast into life. All 2 cylinders. Ready, Blazy? Come on, come on. You got this. Come on, car. Not a great start. Come on, Fiat. There we go. All right, we got the little car running. Now I'm going to put on my seatbelt. Not that I think it does anything, but it gives me a little, fake peace of mind here and there. Now this car is seriously small. Park it next to like a classic Mini and you think you park next to a ginormous, hang on, the seat's stuck on the seatbelt. This car is seriously small. Park it next to like a classic Mini, for example, and it looks like you just parked a smart car next to an F-150. Oh, hi, Blazy. Are you giving me kisses? Thank you, buddy. All right, camera's secure. Blaze is in position. About to tackle the American road system. First gear, and off we go. Ooh, sporty start. Now let's talk a little bit about what the Fiat 500 was built for. It was introduced in the late 1950s, 1957, to be essentially a enclosed Vespa. So this was a city car designed for really narrow Italian cities, and the designer, Dante Giacosa, really was a genius. He designed most Fiats throughout this period, and the design on this car is not only beautiful, but extremely functional. I am 6 feet tall, and even though this car is absolutely puny, look at the headroom. Plenty of headroom. When I'm by myself, I actually have pretty decent shoulder room, and that's coming from a car which will fit through 2 sets of standard American doors. And I kid you not, we had this car inside our offices for a while, like inside next to a couch. It's about the same size as a couch, because if it's cold, just bring it inside. That's all you gotta do in an old Fiat. Now, was this designed for the American roadway system? Not at all. For a very brief period, they did actually sell a few of them here in the States, but very, very few whatsoever. And I do have a little bit of clicking coming from the rear end. I think it's brake related. No synchros on any of the gears. So that's gonna make life a little bit interesting. That's actually a really easy car to drive though. Once you get over the fact that it has less horsepower than some lawn equipment, as long as you take the shifting slow, it's a very nice thing to drive. The suspension is pretty comfortable. The steering is excellent. It's got really precise steering, much better than like a Volkswagen Beetle of a similar era. The brakes really feel pretty good because the car is super light. Keep in mind, they had an Abarth version of this, a high performance version, that they actually took rallying and road racing for a bunch of years. So these are cars that are very, very small, very, very city-like, but actually have quite a long history. Blaze seems pretty happy back here, actually. Here, buddy, I'll roll down the window for you so you can stick your snout out. There you go. No synchros, but I think I can manage. Oh, that was a nice second gear. It's actually a really fun challenge to figure out how to best shift this car, right? Modern day manuals are fantastic and they're fully synchronized, but it takes a lot of kind of the fun and the challenge out of driving a stick. With these older transmissions, these older stick shifts, right? You really gotta time your gear shifts, you really gotta plan ahead, and you really gotta kind of embrace a driving experience so you don't go crunching that rear mounted transaxle. I gotta say though, on these side streets where the speed limit is, 35 to 45 miles an hour, we're actually doing a really good job of keeping up with traffic. I mean, we're doing a good job of keeping up with the cement truck. Maybe not a normal car, but there's 35 miles an hour. It's got plenty to give. The car is still putting along perfectly happily. We've got some small hills that we're climbing up and down. And the fun thing about the Fiat is that in a standard American lane, you basically have an entire racetrack to yourself. You could easily fit 2 of these in a standard American lane. That's how small and kind of maneuverable this car is. Blaze is very insistent that he looks out this window. Hey, Blazy. You gotta look out this window. There's another window over there. All right. Now the fuel filler in a Fiat actually lives underneath the hood. And to get underneath the hood, you gotta pull a lever and then pull up at the same time. And then there's a little safety catch here. Just like that. Come on. Ah, there we go. And that is the fuel tank. That's it. It extends the width of the car. It's completely unshielded. And that's where we're gonna fill up the little Fiat. Now it's reading just under a quarter tank. Let's see how much fuel it actually takes. Now, one of the nice features about this is that if you accidentally spill gas, it's over everything in your trunk. So any kind of luggage or your battery, it's gonna get covered in gas. That's some Italian engineering there from the 1970s. Also, you'll smell it forever. Wow. Is that it? That can't be it. Turns out the secret to filling up a Fiat successfully is to do it very slowly, or the automatic shutoff will engage on the fuel nozzle. Okay. All right, so we're completely full. 3.6 gallons to go from a quarter to full, and that is just under $14. A money-saving tip right there. Buy yourself an old Fiat.
For 16 grand.
For 16 grand. Okay. Money-saving tip. We'll go with it. It's cheaper than your Hummer, Case. Merging onto a larger road, let's do an acceleration test. So, first gear, good until about 30 kilometers an hour. All right, now I'm full throttle in second. That's gonna take us to roughly 45 kilometers an hour, right about there. Into third gear, in case you're wondering, in miles an hour. That's 30 miles an hour there. Third gear is good till right around 70 kilometers an hour. Okay, into fourth. That's top gear right there, foot to the floor. 70 kilometers an hour now. It's going up slowly. So that's roughly 45 miles an hour. Can we hit 50? up to 50. All right, there's 50 miles an hour. And I gotta slow down actually. About to exceed the speed limit here. It's going down to 45. So that was a 0 to 50 miles an hour test. And certainly it took some time, but it was still climbing even at 50 miles an hour. All right, Blazy, we're about to hit something rather stressful. A hill. Got my foot to the floor in 4th gear. Can we make the hill? Come on, Fiat. Let's do it. Gaining momentum. Gaining momentum. What do you think, Blazy? Are we gonna do it, buddy? Up the hill. I have pretty good momentum. I think we're gonna crest it. Come on, buddy. Come on. Come on. Slowing down. Slowing down. Yes. No problem. It's like the performance machine. Well, I have to say I've been very impressed with how this little Fiat has been performing. Not only do I think we're going to make it to the ranch, but this has been an amazingly comfortable and refined ride through and through. It's been a very, very good experience. The little engine's purring away, the steering's good, it's got a pretty good ride quality, and the biggest surprise has actually been the heater. Now there are 2 heater controls. There's a switch down here between the rear seats that actually turns the heater on and off, and then there's one more underneath the dashboard which vents it either up to the windshield or down to your legs. And I have to say that the heater is surprisingly good, especially considering that this is an air-cooled 2-cylinder engine. All right, now a little stretch of dirt. Let's see how it'll perform on this gravel road. Oh, big bump, big bump, big bump. Shoot. Got like 13-inch wheels. Nice thing about having such a narrow car is that you can really avoid all the holes and all the little bumps in these bad roads, which is a nice touch. I think I'm going to stop here, stick it in the 1st gear. There's no one behind us. We'll try to carry a little bit of momentum. Use some of the Fiat 500 rally pedigree. Resting the hill onto the gravel. Full throttle. So far so good. Onto the ISO. Wow, look at that. The great thing is that this car is so light and the engine is in the rear, so a lot of the weight is over the drive wheels, that it actually performed really well up that icy hill. Unbelievable. And the 1st gear gearing is so short. It's very, very, very short, which is nice as well. Coming up to the gate here, and we made it. What a fun trip, Blaze. Wasn't that a blast? Did you have a fun time, buddy? You were a pretty good boy. Yes, you were. You were a good boy. All right, well, Blaze and I made it to the ranch successfully in the Fiat. Nothing blew up, and it drove like an absolute dream. Now, this little car is about to join some stablemates in something very, very, very cool. So we have the 4 post-war European people's cars, the Fiat 500, the Volkswagen Beetle, the Classic Mini, and the Citroën 2CV, and we're going to do a full shootout coming here shortly. But I'm glad the little car is running up to snuff. It's fully tuned up. It's got new spark plugs. It's got a refresh distributor, and it's ready to tackle the Axis and the Allies. Well, let us know what you guys think in the comments section below. Big thank you to Case for filming this video, and we'll see you on the next episode.